Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable Mrs. Nurfadila Najib SPD MPD as the lecturer of Morphology. On this session, we would like to present our mini lesson plan entitled Teaching Prefixes and Suffixes. Our group consists of 5 members. I am Nurmalidia AP as the moderator as well as the first presenter, Nila Ardianti as the second presenter, Nasra Nurdin as the third presenter, Ririanti as the fourth presenter, and Habadia Abdullah Sauro as the last presenter. The general objective of our lesson plan is to help students understand the use of prefixes and suffixes and how they can change the meaning of words. In addition, students are expected to be able to identify and use new words in simple sentences. In this presentation, we will explain the basic concept as well as the interactive learning activities based on the lesson plan that we have designed. Alright, let's move on to the first part.
Here, I'm as the second presenter, and I will explain about the learning objectives from our group. These learning objectives are divided into 3 main aspects: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. The first is the cognitive aspect. In this aspect, students are expected to understand what prefixes and suffixes are, as well as their meanings. So, students do not only memorize, but they truly understand how prefixes and suffixes can change the meaning of word. For example, when we add the prefix "un" to the word happy and make it unhappy, the meaning becomes the opposite. From this, students can see that word structure is very important in understanding meaning. By understanding this, students will also find it easier to guess the meaning of new or unfamiliar words when reading. The second is the affective aspect. In this aspect, students are expected to show interest and a positive attitude during the learning process. For example, they actively ask questions and answer questions and participate in classroom activities. In addition, students are also expected to be more confident in using English, even in simple forms, because attitude and confidence are also important in learning a language. A positive learning attitude will help students enjoy the lesson and stay motivated. The third is the psychomotor aspect. In this aspect, students are expected to be able to practice what they have learned. For example, students can create new words using prefixes and suffixes, and then use them in simple sentences. For instance, from the word play, students can form replay or player, and then make sentences like I replay the video or he is a good player. This shows that students are able to apply the material directly. Through this practice, students can improve their vocabulary and speaking skills step by step. So overall, the learning objectives from our group are for students to not only understand the material, but also be active in the learning process and able to use it in real situations. We also hope that students can develop their vocabulary and become more confident in using English in daily communication. So maybe that's all from me, and thank you.
According to me, in the materials and resources section, the tools and materials used in this lesson plan really help students understand the material about prefix and suffix. First, there are a whiteboard and markers. In my opinion, these are important because the teacher can explain the material directly informed by the class. For example, by writing word examples such as happy, becoming, and happy. This makes it easier for students to see the word change and understand their meanings. Then there is a worksheet. In my opinion, the worksheet is very helpful because students can practice directly after the material is explained. So, they don't only listen to the explanation, but they also immediately apply it through exercises. Next, there are word cards. In my opinion, the use of word cards makes the learning process more interesting and less boring because students can learn while matching the best word with its prefix or suffix. There are also activities such as word building activities and simple sentence exercises. In my opinion, this part is very important because students can create new words and use them in simple sentences. In this way, students can remember the material more easily. This is also in line with Ellen's opinion in Words, teaching vocabulary in grades for the 2024, which says the students can understand tense in word form and meanings more easily when they learn through activities and direct practice.
Next, I will explain the lesson procedure or the step of teaching in the lesson plan. First, introduction. In the introduction stage, the teacher greets the students and asks a simple question, such as what is the difference between happy and unhappy? This question is used to get student attention and activate their prior knowledge. Then, the teacher connect their answer to the topic of prefix and suffix. Second, presentation. In the presentation stage, the teacher explained the concept of prefix and suffix in a simple way. The teacher gave her examples such as agree because disagree and possible become impossible, and explain how adding a prefix can change the meaning of a word. The teacher also provided short examples to the student understand better. Third, practice. In the practice stage, students start doing exercises using word cards and word case. They match word with the correct prefix or suffix and complete simple text. They were in print or small group while the teacher gives us questions and feedback. 4. Production. In the production stage, students apply what they have learned. They created new words using prefix and suffix, and they used those words in the simple sentence. After that, they share their answer with the class. And last, reflex and closing. In the reflecting and closing stage, the teacher review the lesson by asking students what they have learned. Students respond in their own words, and the teacher gives us a short conclusion to close the lesson.
Okay, here I'm the last presenter. Now I will explain the assignment, pedagogical notes, and closing of our lesson plan. The first about the assignment. In this lesson, we use two types of assignment, formative assignment and summative assignment. Formative assignment is conducted during the learning podcast. For example, the students participate in activities like word building and sentence making. The teacher can observe their understanding. Meanwhile, summative assignment is done at the end of the lesson. In this stage, students are asked to complete a worksheet or create their own sentence using prefix and suffix to evaluate their overall understanding. Next, the pedagogical notes. In teaching prefix and suffix, it is important for the teacher to explain that material clearly and use simple example. The teacher should also encourage students to be active and participate in these activities. Use interactive methods like games or group work can make this learning podcast more engaging and effective. And finally, the last is for the closing. In conclusion, this lesson plan is designed to help students understand and use prefix and suffix through interactive and structured activities. We hope that this lesson plan can make learning morphology more interesting and meaningful for students. Okay, on belief of our point, we would like to thank you for watching our presentation. We hope this lesson plan can be useful and provide a better understanding of teaching prefix and suffix. Okay, that's all for our group. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.